Rose has a company called D-Wave. All of these guys operating in the name of science are operating in the name of witchcraft and sorcery, named science, named technology, and they use terminology that you aren't going to understand. But Gordy Rose in some of his interviews talks about and compares what they're doing with quantum computing to actual angels and demons. You might remember Aleister Crowley. Today they call them angels and demons. Tomorrow they will call them something else. So when he's talking about how artificial intelligence is really aliens, he's talking about how they're actually demons. You'll also hear him talk about those monoliths. Remember all those monoliths that have been popping up around the United States of America, around the earth? This is the fallen one's technology. Here is Gordy Rose explaining to you, explaining to people who are sitting in a room and they still walk into this room. They don't know what he's saying because they don't believe in the spiritual war going on. When they hear demons, they don't believe that exists. But if they heard the word ghosts, they would believe it, right? And he's literally telling you that these things don't give a crap about us. These things that these people who have never been authorized the power to do this, they're allowed to do it, of course, because, right? He's talking about how we need quantum computing because we can solve problems faster. And he's saying that, but by building out these machines, which need to be kept cold, we're summoning the demon forth. And these demons don't give an F about you or me. In fact, they want to wipe out the human race. They look at us the same way we look at ants. Listen for yourself and understand what they're trying to tell you when they talk about artificial intelligence, quantum computing, and now openly talking about parallel universes. They know that you're not going to understand anything in these articles that they put out there. So let me make it clear to you. Listen.
I mean, with artificial intelligence, we are summoning the demon. You know all those stories where there's the guy with the pentagram and the holy water, and he's like, yeah, he's sure he can control the demon. Didn't work out. I mean, with artificial intelligence, we are summoning the demon.
So I received this message from the heavens. My microwave dish, my SETI dish, finally captures something. We're coming to your planet, a super intelligent alien race. We're coming July 13th, 2030, and boy, you better be ready. AI is just like that. It's going to be exactly the thing that you're thinking about those super intelligent AIs. So the one thing I can tell you is they're not going to be like us. So alien means, different. These things that we're building are not going to be people. They might be really smart, they might be really good at all sorts of different things, but they're not going to be like us. They're going to be aliens. And they're going to be, I'm sorry to say, way smarter than every single person in this room. But these words, demons, doesn't capture the essence of what's happening here. Yes, there are these massively intelligent entities out there, but they're not good, they're not evil. They just don't give a shit about you even in the slightest. The same way that you don't care about an ant is the same way they're not going to care about you. And these things that we're summoning into the world now, they're more like the Lovecraftian great old ones. There are entities that are not necessarily going to be aligned with what we want. And underneath it all is this rising tsunami that, if we're not careful, is going to wipe us all out.
I'm going to tell you a little bit about quantum computers and why people care so much about them. And that is that there are an enormous number, mind-bogglingly large number, of parallel realities, as real as this one, that have different consistent histories. So imagine a world where all of the laws of physics as we know them are obeyed, but different decisions were made along the way. Different decisions at the level of tiny microscopic particles, different decisions all the way up to what you chose to eat for lunch and whether you chose to come to the session or not. Quantum mechanics makes a very specific prediction that all of those are as real as the thing that you remember. And this is bizarre because we don't see those other things. But science has reached the point now where we can build machines that exploit those other worlds. And quantum computers are perhaps the most exciting of all of these. Humans use tools to do things. If you give humans a new kind of tool that can do things that you couldn't otherwise do, imagine the possibilities. This is what they look like. There are two of them. From the outside, they look like giant black monoliths. They have a fridge inside them, a refrigerator that cools these chips to almost absolute zero, hundreds of times colder than interstellar space. Amongst the coldest and most isolated and extreme conditions that humans have ever been able to engineer. So if you have the opportunity to stand next to one of these machines, it is an awe-inspiring thing, at least for me. It feels like an altar to an alien god. They really are impressive machines. The heart of this big box is a tiny chip about the size of your thumbnail. And on this chip resides all of the wonder and magic that makes this thing go. I'm not going to describe in any mathematical detail how it all works, but let me give you an analogy. In quantum mechanics, there's this concept that a thing can exist in two states which are mutually exclusive at the same time. Imagine that there really are parallel universes out there, and now imagine you have two that are exactly identical in every respect, all the way out to the horizon as far as we can see, down to the last little atomic detail of every single thing, with only one difference. And that's the value of a little thing called a qubit on this chip. In a quantum computer, that device can be in this strange situation where these two parallel universes have a nexus, a point in space where they overlap. And when you increase the number of these devices, every time you add one of these qubits, you double the number of these parallel universes that you have access to. Until such time when you get to a chip like this, which is about 500 of these bits, you have something like 2 to the 500th power of these guys living in that chip. It feels like an altar to an alien god of these guys living in that chip.
I mean, with artificial intelligence, we are summoning the demon. You know those stories where there's the guy with the pentagram and the holy water, and he's like, yeah, he's sure he can control the demon.
It should be very easy to understand what they're trying to do. They are not smarter than you. These people do not know things that you don't know. The only stuff that they know and have knowledge of is because this is the fallen angels technology, which has been passed over to them. This is witchcraft and sorcery. This is what they've always tried to implement. And Christians and followers of Christ have always gotten in the way. So what have they done over the last 100 years? Because Christians have gotten in the way because they haven't allowed these people to go forth with doing this stuff. So what have they done? They've created things like atheism. They've taken a portion of the population and made them not believe in Christ. They've watered down the church, making the church all about love and the Psalms, which of course are a great thing. But the Bible itself is a warning. It is a book of laws, a book of rules, a book of how to live your life that God gave to us. But it's also a warning about rulers in high places, about the wicked ones. So they've worn down the church. They have their CIA-created evangelical movement, which is stereotype Christians to look a certain way, act a certain way, and everything has moved forward while they're bringing this about, and everyone's distracted. They keep hearing about AI being dangerous at the same time they're telling you to download Grok, download these apps, because you can make really cool memes and you can make really cool GIFs, and everybody just moves forward with it. And they're like, well, it's convenient because I can ask this thing to give me directions while I'm driving and I don't have to, pipe it into my phone. Okay. And they just start accepting this tech in their lives and they don't even know how it works or what it is. And like I keep saying, Ephesians chapter 2, verse 2, where in time past he walked according to the course of this world, according to the prince of the power of the air, the spirit that now worketh in the children of disobedience. All this stuff is happening through the air. Frequencies being used that we can't see. They are summoning this forward, and people out there are allowing it to happen because they don't understand it. And when they read articles like that, they're getting conditioned at the same time that they're seeing portals popping up in New York, in Philadelphia. Yes, these are portals as cameras, but they're preparing you to literally have these portals in our space where these things are going, these interdimensional beings, whatever they want to call them, are going to be able to exist in the same space as us. And these things, of course, want to do what? They want to annihilate the human race, unless, of course, you mix with these things and you merge with these things and get this technology inside of your body. And that's what we're headed towards. So while stories are out there about parallel universes, don't allow yourself to be overwhelmed by it. Because